Hi folks, HR Funk here, back for part 2 of my review of the Tisas PX9 Tactical Threaded Pistol. If you missed part 1 of this review, I conducted a full shop review of this handgun and talked about all of its features and functions. And if you missed that, I would encourage you to go back and take a look at it, because in part 2, all I'm going to be doing is shooting it. And as I said in part 1, if this handgun shoots well and the accuracy is good and the functioning is good, it represents a very strong value in the handgun market, because the MSRP of these handguns is right around $360. So I am really looking forward to seeing how this pistol performs. I am set it up at a distance of 15 yards right now. The first test is going to be a slow fire accuracy test from this distance, shooting from the bags, and I'm going to be using 2 different types of ammunition to test the accuracy and the functioning of the PX9. The first is going to be Hot Munitions 124 grain full metal jacket ammunition, and then I also want to test it with some hollow point ammunition. So in test number 2, I'm going to be using 124 grain SIG V-Crown ammo. So let's get right to it and see how the PX9 does. All right folks, here we go. As I said, first test is going to be with the 124 grain Hot Munitions FMJs. Let's see how they do. They're all downrange. Let's go see where they hit. And there we go. Got 4 shots that are in just over 2 inches, and then I've got a flyer. And this might have been me. I didn't see the sight move, but very well could have been. These 4 look pretty good. Let's see how that 124 grain SIG V-Crown does. All right, accuracy test number 2 with the SIG V-Crowns. Let's see how they do. See how those did. So again, I've got 4 shots that are in a really nice group, hitting just slightly high from that distance of 15 yards, and 1 shot that is, what, about over 2 inches, almost 2.5 inches probably off to the left. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to go back and review the tape. I'm wondering if this is the first shot out and the rest of these are the ones that are cycled from the magazine through the action. Now, certainly this is combat accurate, and there are indications that the accuracy is going to be very good, but those occasional flyers worry me, and this is 2 different types of ammunition from 2 different manufacturers, and I'm still seeing that variation. Again, this could be me. I don't think so. I like that squared off front sight. As I mentioned when I was doing my shop review, it seems like it would lend itself to good accuracy, but then again, I'm shooting from the bench, and that's not exactly what this handgun was intended for. So let's move on to some defensive drills and see if it does better with those. And here we go, folks. Controlled pairs from a distance of 5 yards. All right, not bad. I'm pulling those off to the left a little bit. I really do think that's me. One of the things I notice is that bright fiber optic as I'm coming up, especially for that first shot. It is very visible on the target, so I'm not too worried about this. I'm still getting used to this handgun. Let's back off to a distance of 7 yards and we'll see how the failure drills go from there. And I've covered up those shots from 5 yards. Now I've moved back to 7 yards. Let's try some failure drills. Can't do much better than that. All right. Body shots are all nicely centered. In fact, they're all on the heart from that distance of 7 yards. That first headshot is basically dead center in this no reflex zone. Second one I pulled a little bit low, and this was me. I saw that front sight dip, so I pulled that a little bit down here. But all in all, I'm very happy with this. I was trying to watch my sights a little bit closer that time and make sure that they weren't moving to the left, and you can see everything stayed much more well centered. So I think these shots hitting to the left were just me. And the more I get used to this handgun, the straighter I'm shooting it. Again, that bright fiber optic is very helpful. As soon as I come up, I am picking that up. It's very easy to see, very highly visible, and I think it's helping with these drills. And I've covered up the shots from those failure drills with green stickers. Now I move back to a distance of 15 yards. Let's try 5 shots from back here. They all look good from this end. Let's see how they look on the other end. All right, folks, color me impressed on that one. 5 shots, all in the heart, all in about probably just over an inch, center to center. That is extremely good. And I said earlier that maybe just shooting from the bench is not the forte for the PX9. I think maybe I was right. I was watching the sight, I was squeezing off those shots, and I am very, very happy with that group from that distance of 15 yards. In fact, now I'm looking forward to going back to 25 yards and seeing what kind of accuracy I can get from it back there. All right, folks, I'm feeling pretty good. I was able to cover up all those shots from 15 yards with 3 dark blue stickers. Now let's see what happens from 25 yards. Again, they all look good from this end. Let's go down the range and see where they hit. Nice sized group from 25 yards. I'm hitting a little high and slightly to the left. This could be me from that distance. It's overcast out here today. All of a sudden, a little while ago, we had bright sunlight. So I felt like I wasn't seeing the target as well from that distance as I had been previously. Even so, that's probably maybe 4 inches from 25 yards. Not bad at all. A little off, but I'm not worried too much about it. Obviously, we still have decent defensive accuracy and shot placement that I certainly wouldn't want to get that one, and I don't think I'd want either of these two either. So now let's try something else. Well, folks, we just had an unexpected cloud burst here on the range. I say unexpected because according to the weather forecast, it was supposed to be sunny all day today, but apparently someone forgot to tell Mother Nature because for the last 20 minutes or so, it's been raining very heavily. Now the rain has more or less stopped and the bright sun is back out. The good news is I took that time to install a Sun micro red dot optic on the PX9, and I'm going to shoot back through some of these defensive drills and see if we get different performance with the sight installed than we did without it installed. And this was very straightforward. I mentioned in the shop review that the PX9 is set up to accept micro red dot optics that have the Trijicon RMR footprint, and my Sun 507 has that type of a footprint. The one snag that I ran into is the screws that came with the Sun sight were too big to go into the screw holes in the top of the slide. So I was able to use the screws that were securing the cover over top of the optics mounting platform, and those seem to have secured my sight pretty well to the slide. Now, I did not Loctite these in place, but I'm not going to be shooting it that many times. This is basically just to get an idea of how the pistol performs with the sight installed. So in just a minute here, I'm going to start over again. We're going to do controlled pairs from a distance of 5 yards, and we'll see how the PX9 does with the micro red dot set up on the slide. So here we go, one more time with controlled pairs from a distance of 5 yards. Think I got him. There we go, folks. There are those 6 shots from a distance of 5 yards. It only took 5 stickers to cover them all up. We can see the size of the group. Once again, all of these shots are on the heart. And if we look at the black stickers over here, this one's mostly covered up, but the group size is about the same. It is a little more nicely centered with the optic. But here again, I was still getting used to shooting the pistol when I shot these 5, and everything else you can see on here is still nicely centered. So let's move on now and try those failure drills with the optic and see how they go. And on we go with a couple more 7-yard failure drills. So those look pretty good. The green stickers tell the tale, folks. 3 of those body shots are on the heart, 1 of them is in the right lung, and both headshots are in the no reflex zone up here. Comparing the group once again to what we had with the iron sights, the accuracy is virtually the same. So that performance really is running neck and neck with either sighting system. The only difference really is going to be the shooter. Let's see what happens when I move back to 15 yards, try 5 shots to the body from there. I had this nice tight group. And we see the 3 purple stickers right here that are covering up 5 shots. Let's try 5 shots with that optic attached, and we'll see how it does. All right, folks, 5 more body shots from 15 yards. Let's see how they go. Once again, they look pretty good on this end. Let's go down range. So take a look at the purple stickers, folks, and you can tell with the optic, the group is not quite as tight as it was with the iron sights because it took me 4 stickers to cover 5 shots this time instead of just 3. But I'm joking. Actually, I'm very happy with that shot group from a distance of 15 yards. It is obviously a little bit bigger, but if I reshot this one, it might well be bigger too. And again, this is extremely, extremely good accuracy with that handgun from the distance of 15 yards. And I'm getting more used to the trigger on the PX9. I talked about in the shop review that there is some creep in the trigger, and I'm starting to work it a little bit more like a revolver trigger, and that seems to be working out very well for me. So again, very happy with that. Let's back off one more time to 25 yards and we'll see what happens there. 3 more shots from 25 yards, folks, this time with the hollow Sun Optic. Let's go take a look. All right, 2 really good shots from 25 yards and 1 of them that went high. And folks, this one was my fault. I made an error. I had gotten used to, at the closer distances, holding high to compensate for the offset of the sight. And when I got back to 25 yards, my first shot, I was holding right about here. In my mind, I was thinking the shots were going to hit in this area. And of course, from that distance, I'm not getting any kind of a drop associated with the offset because I zeroed the sight from 25 yards. So as soon as I fired that shot, I realized what I had done. I dropped my next 2 shots down here, or at least my point of aim down here. And you can see those are nicely centered in the chest of the target from that distance of 25 yards. So my fault on that one. This is not the pistol's fault, not the sight's fault. This is shooter error. But the good shots that I fired from that distance of 25 yards are looking very good. And we are back in the shop for my final thoughts on the Tisas PX9. And my final thoughts are going to be pretty succinct, folks. If you are interested in one of these handguns and you've been trying to decide whether or not to buy one, my recommendation is to go ahead and buy it. Let's start off with the fact that it was completely reliable out at the range, functioning with both full metal jacket ammunition and hollow point ammunition. Now, no, I did not run every imaginable type of 9mm ammunition through this pistol to verify that it's going to function with everything, but certainly you're going to be able to find something that it functions with, and both types of ammunition that I had out there today ran just fine. It is also accurate enough for anything you can reasonably ask of a handgun like this. In fact, some of the accuracy that it demonstrated was very, very good out there. It was extremely easy to mount an optic. I did that out there during a rainstorm. And as I said, the only snag that I had was the screws that came with the optic do not fit the screw holes on top of the slide. No big deal. I used these screws, mounted the optic, and you saw how it performed with the optic once I got it on there. The handgun itself is nicely outfitted. It has good sights. It has a good enough trigger. It's got all the other features that you would tend to want with equipment rails and a reversible magazine catch and one thing and another. It has a decent capacity. It has a grip that can be configured in 27 different ways. And by the way, after shooting this out there, I think probably if I experimented with some of those different back straps and side panels and one thing and another, I could probably get a little bit better fit for my hand and a little bit more natural pointing. Oh, something else I wanted to mention about the sights. They did co-witness with the optic when I had it on there in the lower 1/3 of the optic lens, so that worked out very well. If this were a much more expensive handgun, I might be able to find one or two little things to be critical of, like sort of the plasticky feel to it, but with a handgun that has an MSRP of $360, and as I said earlier, you can probably find it for a whole lot less than that without looking too much. I think this represents a great value. It comes with some very well thought out accessories. It's just a great buy, folks. I like this. Now, will it last tens of thousands of rounds and years and years and years from now still be functioning? I don't know. But if you're contemplating shooting tens of thousands of rounds, you're probably already looking at a handgun that's more expensive than the PX9. But I was impressed. So, as I said earlier, if you're considering one of these handguns, I would say go ahead and buy it. And that's going to do it for this video, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, as always, make sure you forward those to me. Remember, if you purchase anything from Optics Planet, be sure to use my discount code, which is... And if you use that discount code, it's good for 7% off your purchase from Optics Planet. Also remember the discount code from Hot Munitions, and I want to say thanks to House of Pain Armament for supplying the PX9 for this review. Without their assistance, this video would not have been possible. But if you go to House of Pain, you can use my discount code there, which is HRFUNK10, and that'll save you 10% on your purchase from House of Pain. Last but not least is a Target sponsor for the channel. And again, I was using two of their Targets out there today. Go to Targets online, check out their inventory, and see if they have anything that's going to meet your Target needs. See you next time, folks. And until then, good shooting. Bye-bye.